Thank you for listening to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please support the show by subscribing to and leaving a 5-star rating for the show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, and any of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also support the show by going to our website, blackandgoldhockey.com, where there's always exciting articles by the B&G writing staff. While you're there, don't forget to click on the fanatics.com banner for a great sports fan shopping experience.
Hey, are you done yet? We gotta start the show.
Brodeur behind the net to Sanderson. Brodeur scores for the Boston Bruins.
30 seconds left in the period. The Bruins are shorthanded. Ray Bork from the face-off circle to the right of Reggie Whitman. Fired it down, and Whitmore blew it.
Did he ever?
Marshall to Brodeur on the drive, save, rebound, he's loose. Sagan kicks him loose. Brodeur scores! The Priest moves on with the point of the dagger in their throats. They rip it out of Toronto's hands and kill the beast. The Boston Bruins have won it after being 3 down in the third.
Hey, Bruins fans, Mark Allred here, host of the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. We are recording episode 187, brought to you by betonline.ag. Please go to betonline.ag and use code CLNS50 when you sign up for a free account. I need to welcome in my friend Heather Ingerson. She is the best co-host. How's it going, Heather?
Thank
Pumping
you.
a little tires there.
Happy Sunday. Thanks for pumping my tires, even though most of the week you're like, you're angry. I am angry this week. I don't know why I'm so bitchy this week, but I really am.
Yeah, I toned down my hatred for you before we do the show. So you're on Twitter now, and now it's just.
Yeah, but I'm not really on Twitter because I still don't know what I'm doing. So I'm like, like the teenager at work last night told me what the ats and this and what they do. I don't know. I'm not adding that in until I know what it does because I already haven't been spell checking myself very well this week either. Having a week.
I had to be a
bringing up Torrey Krug, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, people, just let him play his last games, no matter how they are with his buddies, and we'll deal with it later. But on the flip side, I kind of want to tweet to Don Sweeney, please, Donnie, I need to know either way what's going to happen. I can't take it anymore.
All right.
My heart can't. So you know how on Big Bad Bruins, they kept playing the Marcy Gray song there, whatever, with Heinen, which, I was sad about the Heinen too. If Torrey Krug does not resign with the Bruins, you're going to have Metallica's Fade to Black just in the background or something like that, which strangely I think is actually a happy song. But
all right.
there you go.
Before we continue, I just want to make sure that we are not going to drop any F-bombs on this. We are going to have some new listeners, some community members of the town of Amesbury. So I would appreciate that if we just tone it down just for this one. We'll get back to our regular stuff later on. No. Okay. I just want to make sure that you know ahead of time.
No, I know, but how sometimes I do. No, you know how I do it accidentally stream of conscious?
Yeah. All right. So we do have to get to a very important topic. This is not Bruins related, but it is kind of tied there in the history aspect. But on Wednesday night, July 22nd, last week at 11 p.m., the city, town, community lost a very, very valuable member of its family in the passing of Leo Durpe. Leo was born in Amesbury, Mass. in 1940. He started playing with the Amesbury Maples in the 1953-54 season at the age of 14. He was playing against adults that were 18 and above, which was unbelievable. And if for those members out there, the listeners that don't know who the Amesbury Maples are, they were a semi-professional hockey team here in Amesbury, where I live and Heather lives. We're Amesburyites through and through. But there was, it was widely known as one of the best amateur teams throughout America. And they traveled everywhere to play. And if you wanted to challenge this team would actually go and make ways to find game time. So Leo graduated from Amesbury High School in 1959 and committed to Northeastern University in 1960. At Northeastern, Duprey set several scoring records between 1961 and 1964, named MVP 3 times. Unbelievable athlete. This is where he got Olympic roster, eyes. A lot of people were coming to scouting him out. He played minor pro for the Boston Olympics, I believe, and just a unreal player. And he was a Amesbury High School coach from 1964 to 1981, where he amassed 222 wins, 100 losses, and 38 ties. He was a Cape Ann League Coach of the Year 3 times, Massachusetts State Champion in 1971 and 1972, and the Cape Ann League titles in 1974 and 1982. So, thoughts on Mr. Duprey? We both had him as a teacher at the Amesbury Middle School as an athletic director, and it's a tough loss. And this is actually like my first, and I'm not proud of this, but this is my first Maple that I'm actually going through a loss that I actually knew. A lot of the guys that I do the research on for the Amesbury Maples Legend series on the blackandgoldhockey.com website are just folks that I've done research on, and I've reached out to families and gotten more information about character from them. But this is somebody I knew personally. My dad knew him for a long time after teaching at the Amesbury Middle School and in the Amesbury school system for many years. So, Heather, what are your thoughts on the passing of a hockey legend?
Wow, like suddenly it's like I knew this would be sad, but like now I'm feeling sad because it's beyond just how awesome of an athlete was. Like he affected thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. He was like an institution in this town. Know what I mean? And also a really fun gym teacher. I couldn't remember what was the name of that game, handball or something. It was a weird like cross between hand lacrosse and soccer. It was some like game we used to play in gym class. I can't remember what it was called, but he was just awesome. And he to me is like, he's like the old school coach in the most awesome ways, or like the old school gym teacher in the most awesome ways. Like for me, like I'm a girl that kind of grew up in the first era of chicks can play sports, you know what I mean? But it would still be funny because nobody, especially middle school, like boys don't want to play baseball with girls and shit like that. So Duprey would always crack me up because on one hand he'd say stuff like, oh, come on, everyone knows girls can't play baseball. And then you like lodge the ball up in the top and he's like, what's up, boys? You think girls can't play baseball? Like he just like things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But when you had posted, you kind of said it, right? Like he pushed everyone to be the best athlete they could be, but he also just kind of pushed you to be the best person. Like not everybody can teach you life lessons and teach you how to implement them and you get it outside of say when you're in the locker room or whatever, but like he was that dude that for decades, right, impacted this town, a lot of people. So hearts and prayers to family, friends, all that, but to this town too, because it is a big loss. Yeah.
And the research that I've done, he was the benefiting factor of many years of development before he was even playing hockey after he was born in 1940. But I mean, he had people like Alphonse Pickard, Archie Cloutier, Freddie Fournier. These types of names were folks that played before him, passed down the knowledge, and then he's the middleman, and then literally took that away and took the ball and ran with it on taking that knowledge and developing the youth of his time. So that's what I really love about the research projects of this Amesbury Maples hockey team is the continued tutelage to the youth and the effort to keep things alive, keep things going, keep the team moving forward, play hard, represent your community accordingly. And I just think that it's definitely the best part of the project, is learning how the character of these people were when they were just out there playing the sport that they love, but it meant so much to them, you know what I mean? And his coaching abilities were uncanny. It was second to none. And I believe that a lot of that came from the words passed down from a player and former coach and high school coach, Albie Roy, you know. And Albie's well known in this area for being an outstanding hockey player, you know, going to Canada and learning the game up there and coming back down here and perfecting it and teaching everybody else the way the Canadian old school system was back in the 20s and 30s. So yeah, it's just unbelievable. And I just want to read something that Amesbury resident Claire Roy sent me in a Facebook message, because they grew up close to where the flats were in Amesbury, Mass, where the rinks would be flooded and so on. But Claire says, my husband, which her husband is the son of Albie Roy, which is just an unbelievable thing, just told me a story about Duprey. He would go to the Stewart skating rink. After the rink closed, they would leave the lights on for him. He would practice, shooting puck, handling, how the boards would hit, see the angle of it, how it came off. And he worked really hard for what he achieved. Then he would clear the ice, put a new thing of water down for the people to skate on it the next day. So it just a guy that perfected his craft and taught it very well. So we definitely want to say our condolences to the Duprey family. Thoughts are with all the friends and family throughout the community, because it was Wednesday when everybody found out. It was a little touching moment for me and so on, because, you know, my dad was a teacher and knew Leo very well. Played hockey with Leo at the old Amesbury Arena before school and after school, and with Jim Calabogus, and you know, it was just it was like family back then. When even though I was a child and I really didn't know much, but you know, when we did like family get-togethers and so on, Leo was always, you know, very nice and so on. And then obviously having him as a teacher, and you know, just it was a tough day. So like I said, condolences.
Definitely. But yeah, I was just thinking it's very important to just one last thing about, it's funny because with the heritage, like the Maples, just hockey, right? Because this is New England and we have a huge connection to, you know, Ontario and the Maritimes and whatever, you know. In this town, there's a lot of like the hockey started as kind of a thing the French Canadian immigrants brought to town, and it's what bonded them, like you said. And then we had instant, like as it grew, and Duprey was kind of that middle, right? Because he spawned the next generation of Maples, high school, hot shot, you know, whatever, and passed it down. And those are the guys, even though they didn't have, say, youth hockey, like if you talk to anybody over the age of like 45, they'll probably say they never played organized hockey ever. They played in high school or middle school, you know, like once you got a little older, like it exploded after they won the cups in the early 70s. So that he not only did he pass on his knowledge he got from all the guys that came from before him, right, as kind of marks of this town and whatever pride, he passed it off to the next generation of leaders who hopefully will spawn the next. And
let me name a few. Steve Klein, George Dodier,
Jack Morrill,
you know what I mean? All those players were benefiting factors of Leo's tutelage coming down. And, you know, he was a hard coach. A lot of people I talk to in my research, when I get together with them, they say he demanded the best out of you, and he got the best out of you. And I think that even back then, pushing so hard made people be better about themselves, not only on the ice, but off the ice.
It's how you push. You know what I mean? Being tough, it's how you're tough. You can be tough in a negative way, or you can be tough in a good way. And he just always, at least what I observed, knowing him, what it is. And I also was thinking the other day, I feel extra lucky I got to see him at the Maples Crossing breaking last year. So.
Yes. Yeah. We were I was very lucky to say hello to him. I gave him a card and send me an email, but it was unfortunate that we weren't able to connect. So
I took a picture of. Oh, sorry. You know how our bantams last year with the junior Maples? I got a picture of a couple of our Maples with Leo, so I'm happy about that. I'm gonna put that up on Amesbury Hockey.
You're gonna have to send me that picture when I write an article about him and put him in the Amesbury Maples Legend series. That's probably gonna come out in the next week or two. So
absolutely.
All right. With that being said, and it's a sad moment for all Amesbury members that had the opportunity to meet him, but we got to move on. So
and he would want us to.
Yeah, he would want us to truck on,
okay, enough
suck
about
it up
me.
and
enough about me.
Yeah, suck it up and move on. But we do have to talk about our show sponsor, betonline.ag. There is no shortage of action going on at our exclusive partner, betonline.ag. Sports are slowly coming back. The NHL's coming back. Baseball's already playing. Basketball's starting to heat up. Golf. Things are starting to return in the professional sports. So betonline.ag has the best odds, lines, and the upcoming matches this weekend. Need more? betonline.ag has simulated NFL, NBA, and UFC happening every day live for you to check out. Looking for something else other than sports? betonline.ag has hundreds of live casino games, poker tournaments, and all the best props in the business. Visit betonline.ag or use your mobile device and join now to receive your new welcome bonus and start playing today. Please use code CLNS50 when you do that, folks. CLNS50. betonline.ag, your online wagering experts. So, Heather.
Yes.
I love betonline.ag.
I know you do. You talk about them every week. It's like you're.
I try to.
No, I'm just kidding.
I try to do my part.
Betonline AG is cool.
So,
are you betting on baseball again?
I haven't yet. I am gonna. If we get this thing done and there's some 4 o'clock or some later games, I will be doing that certainly. But
with caution. It's a
Sox are hot, huh?
Yeah.
See what they do with no fans in the stands. That's terrible. But anyway, let's talk about the Boston Bruins and their flight today. They're leaving today for the hub bubble in Toronto. Hockey's coming back. I don't think there's any stopping now. I think we're at the point of the threshold that we're ready to cross and get this sport back into shape and finally acknowledge a Stanley Cup champion. So thoughts on moving forward from here? You got to be super happy, girl.
I'm super happy. I'm a little sad, obviously, because of Torrey Krug and all that, and that's all anybody's talking about this week. It's like, Jesus, can't we just be happy they're going to play hockey? But I think things are looking good to go. They're off. We still, at the time of this recording, are not quite sure if Kasha, whether he's getting benched or not, is getting on the plane. Again, we'll talk about that in a few. There's still things that are up in the air, but I think overall they had a great training camp. I think people look good. They look relaxed. They look like they're back in form. And I follow all the other teams. Like, it's going to be fun. Like, teams are ready to bring it. Like Edmonton's doing it for Colby, which is, again, all weeks. Like, oh, yeah, keep it up. When they all had number 12 on yesterday, whatever. I'm just excited. They're going to get there. They got to isolate from everyone for 5 days. Like, they don't get to go with anyone but their own traveling parties, but they're off to the bubble. And how can you not be excited? They're about to finally play again. I'm not worried about Tuukka's finger. I'm not worried about anything. I agree with you. I think once we get in there, by the end of round robin, we're going to know if it's going to be able to proceed because all the tests will be in, they'll be isolated. And the chief content officer's been on everywhere talking about it, and it's like starting to look nice in these arenas. I don't know how you feel about those, but it's starting to look, I'm getting excited. It can go really well or really badly, but it's looking like it might be cool what they're going to do with these screens and everything like that, and not have cardboard cutouts, which I support. I mean, I think it's fun for baseball. It's a giant state or whatever, but hockey, if you can make it tight and intimate, the cameras don't have to go far. They've added things, and I think the boys, for everyone out there that keeps saying, oh, the Bruins, it's not the same. Yes, obviously it's a level playing field. That's what's going to make it so exciting. But I don't think the Bruins might win because they're just my team. I think they're still the best team in hockey. There are very few teams, I think, if everything goes right, that can stop us, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to get this thing going.
What are you looking most forward to?
Just the sense of normalcy again as a Bruins fan, as a sports fan in general. And I don't do other sports. I try to get my fill of hockey as much as I can. And that's why the office is built the way it is, so I can feed that need. But I watched a Red Sox game the other day, and I was like, wow, this is just it's something moving forward. And I just think once I see my first hockey game, I'm probably going to be absolutely shit-faced and enjoy. So,
I can't wait. Like I said on the Twitter, I'm like, I can't even wait till Tuesday, man. I'm ready to go. Please just put hockey back on. Swear to God, if it doesn't come back on, something happens and on the Saturday or whatever, they're like, just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
But one thing that's kind of concerning a little bit is just the Pasternak and Kasha saga is continuing, and it's going right to the 11th hour. I'm assuming the Bruins have left or about to leave. We are recording on Sunday, July 27th? 26th. I'm terrible with dates.
It's bubble day. That's why I know it's bubble day. I like dates, though.
So this is a tough one because there's so many ways of speculation on going on right now. Is Kasha COVID? Can he pass a test? Is he doing false negatives which keep him out because of Kasha? Possibly Eric Wotes being positive. Is that concern for Pasternak moving forward? I don't know. But all I know is that the current situation right now is I don't think Canada is going to let him in until he at least passes a test.
Yeah.
So with that being said, how do you feel about his roster spot? Obviously, that's the team that they want to go with, but if you can't travel all together, is there any concern about that at all? Or possible suspension news? I really haven't gotten fully into the whole, suspension thing, but what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is, well, first of all, just in general, if it's going to be a team disciplinary thing, so we're going to go here. So
oops.
For me,
Sorry.
I'm not going to rant. Okay. And cause I don't want to swear, but, if it's a disciplinary thing, then yes, I think Pasta should have his butt benched for at least a game too. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. Because they've been up on each other, doing everything together for months and months and months and months. So whatever, if it is a disciplinary issue, you can make the trail that they should both be in trouble. It's probably the same thing, right? I don't understand that because I do think it's more of a testing issue or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's so for David Pasternak, it's all signs point he's getting on the plane, not a problem, right? But it kind of begs to make you wonder, then why wasn't he on the practice, right? If the person maybe he's been in contact with that has it is caught, like I said to you the other day, they absolutely don't have to disclose anything, but as an organization can say, whatever, Kasha is not traveling with the team tomorrow, but we expect him to fly in on Monday because there is a couple day leeway before they close the bubble totally, and then it's no one in or out until the families can come in during the later rounds. So I don't know. I think there's a possibility. Yeah. Neither of them they had that one time and neither of them been seen nor hide nor hair, not practicing anyone else or anything like that. So that leads me to believe they've both been in an isolation period. That makes me nervous just because I don't know, but his roster spot, and I guess whatever. Everyone says Stanika there. I lean more towards Carson Kuhlman at least has playoff experience because, as I said, let's just say, I'm not anti-prospect just because again, I get nervous. The weak link in the chain, once we're on the ice with some of the heavy hitters, they're going to take them out. They go after people go after Zdeno Chara. You think they're not going to try and take out Stanika? And I also don't want anyone to get rattled, and what useful will that be to us? I don't know, just how it slots. I kind of feel like then we should have just had Bjork practicing with DeBrusk and Krejci the whole time and let Stanika have been the practice run for the top line. That makes more sense to me because at least he's been playing like I'm not anything against him, but he bumped up into a spot and we kept him.
Yeah, they've been. If you look at the practice lineups throughout the 2 weeks of camp, that Pasternak and Kasha have not been there. I mean, they were there for that one practice. That's it. But if you look at the scrimmage lineups and so on, you can see Studnicka and Bjork bouncing up between the second and first line. So, and Bjork is like due for a breakout. Lucas Pearson, blackandgoldhockey.com writer, one of our 24 great writers, wrote a really good article about his expectations of Bjork in these playoffs, regardless of where he is in the top 12. So, I mean, there's a positive right there because Bjork does have that experience that you're talking about. I like the idea of Studnicka, but I do want to tread lightly because this is the playoffs, and as much as Brad Marchand came out and said that it's going to be sloppy hockey at first, sloppy hockey can also lead to some really bad tens. You know, you don't want a rookie to be lost in a shuffle in a particular time like this. A regular season game, yeah, if you made a mistake, it's how you recover. But if you make a mistake in the playoffs, it could end a series. So I do completely understand with where you're going with that.
So I just want you to know, you like when you said I was anti-prospect when we were texting it, you know I'm not anti-prospect. I just am leery because I've seen too many times prospects been put. I mean, this is the frying pan of all frying pans to be thrown into, right? So I'm not opposed to him slotting in on a right side. You know what I mean? I'm just like, again, too much too soon, and you risk again. Like it's already going to be sloppy enough, quote unquote, with the guys who are always, you know, like the best guys in the league, you know. And then I don't want people to turn on him because this is Boston. So like, say you let him be on the second line, like, oh, he's still like fucking it up. Oh, sorry. Can you edit that out?
Yeah.
Okay. He's still messing it up, and you know what? Now he's not doing it. Like we don't need that on him too, because you don't want to shatter someone's confidence. We've seen that happen a few times. That too, and like I said, I mean, like Carson Coleman, Coleman was playing up for a while, but then he got hurt, and he never really got a chance to come back and maybe re-earn his spot somewhere in the 12. So I don't know. So it's not I'm anti Jack Studnicka. I think he'll be awesome when he slots in and there's a thing. But going into the playoffs, it doesn't make me anti-prospect to also do want to rely on some veterans or people with at least a little more what's going to happen if Pietrangelo comes over and smashes you. Like, do you know what I mean? Kind of.
Yeah. No, and I get that. But
you've looked great, but it's one thing to look great on the ice with your own team during a camp than it is in game situation. That's all I'll say. I'll let you go. Completely
understand that. And I will let you know that if nothing was happening with Pasternak and Kasha, and they were and the whole team was going to a bubble healthy without all this unfit to play air quote crap, I don't see a spot on the lineup for Jack Studnicka. He did not win out. I really think that this team was going to go and roll the dice with the team that got them 100 points. I've said this several freaking times in recent podcasts. They believe. Cassidy believes in what he had, and getting that 100 points and being the best team in the league, that's awesome. So you roll with it. This is now a curveball. This is the COVID curveball, and it's just putting me into a weird place because it's like, well, where do you slot these kids in when they don't have much experience? There's going to be a ton of pressure. You know, I do believe in it. I do believe in the system, but you know, there's always that factor of mistakes. I mean, we all make them, but it's that, I don't know.
The young kid takes a hit for their mistakes a lot more than a veteran does. You know what I mean? Like in one way, it's like, oh, I can't believe, you know, so-and-so did that. But a young kid will be like, oh, see, they're not right, you know, and all that negative, and I just don't want to go there. I am feeling anxious because I don't like messing up lines anyways, unless you really need to. So it's already driving me there, but I'm not going to panic until the exhibition game, because that's another 5 days away or 4 days away or whatever. So even if Kasha doesn't get on the plane today, he may fly out tomorrow, because if it is whatever, potentially coronavirus related, maybe he too is blowing, like you said, false negatives. So they don't know either way. And even though after it's been almost 2 weeks, he's not showing signs, you don't know he's not asymptomatic. So it could just be a matter of that. And same thing with Pasternak, though. You want to talk about sloppy. Like, I love Pasta, but I don't know if I'm getting a hot mess in his own head, kind of skating by the blue line Pasta, playing with the puck, or if I'm getting Rocket Rashad Pasta when he gets back, because I haven't seen him play either, except for the one day. Yeah, your hands still look great, kid, but like skating and like, the conditioning and all those other things. That's what makes me nervous, is even if they are both healthy enough to travel and play or whatever, like, now they're playing 2 weeks of catch up cardio wise and things like that.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that, and you just answered it for me. So I was going to say, is the time away or only having one ice session with your teammates and then being pulled off because of precautionary reasons or protocol, whatever you want to call it, not being with the club, heading into the bubble, is that a disadvantage for the Boston Bruins when you don't have a high caliber sniper like Pasternak and a player like Kasha, who can pretty much slot anywhere up and down the lineup?
I definitely think it's nerve-wracking to not have the option. You know what I mean? Again, whatever you do with Kasha, if he can come or not come, that's, again, I always say to you, unless it's coming from Don Sweeney, Cam Neely, or Bruce Cassidy, it's not real to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, once it's like quoted from them making a statement, then I'll know what's going on and that it's the official whatever. Yes, it does. It just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say what's happening. I think too, like, there's not, in one sense, it is a sense of normalcy. They're going to go back. There's going to be games, finish up the season. But on the other hand, it's so unconventional what they're walking into. It's nerve-wracking enough. And you're walking in there, the whole thing's different, but yet completely the same at the same time. And that, I mean, people have to pop off from the gate. So even if there are still issues and they at least can travel with the team and get in the bubble and say you don't see them again, as long as everyone can be together a couple days before the first round of the playoff starts, I think I'll be all right. But if we're still in this weird limbo of where in the world is Pasternak and Kasha or whatever, I can't. I just can't. And that and the tour.
Was that Carmen San Diego?
It was, yes.
Oh my God. That brings me back.
Show.
Oh my geez.
PBS or whatever. It was the best video.
Wow, you just gave me another gray hair.
Computer game or whatever. I remember Mr. Judge would be like, don't touch the center thing on the floppy disk. Kids, floppy disks were things, not those hard disks you might find every now and then in your old people in your life, but actual floppy disks with film. They were like $1,000.
Heather, you
you want me to touch Oregon Trail?
Heather, you might like this, but you might not either.
Okay.
Because I'll age you. But Caddyshack turned 40 yesterday.
It's been all over everywhere. Yeah. I love that.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I got a gray hair just from that mention.
My favorite part of that's when Bill Murray's going, hello, Mr. Gopher, don't worry about me, just me, Mr. Squirrel, or whatever. I don't know the exact line, but that thing when he's like, I'm not going to blow you up or whatever. That's just funny.
My favorite was of that movie was when I can't remember his name. But he launches a ball into the apartment and he goes in there and he's got that big joint. Mm-hmm. He says, it's a mixture of Mississippi Red and Kentucky Bluegrass. I made it myself.
That's a good movie.
It is a great movie.
Now that I'm older and have kids, I'm like, why would my parents have let me watch that movie? I was like 6 when I watched Caddyshack, but now that I'm like,
now it's all politically correct.
Things were different when you were a kid in the 80s. Kids out there that weren't kids, at least in the 80s, like it was a different time.
I do want to mention one thing before we move on to our next topic. Heather, you're going to take the road on this one for the rest of the way on the topic mentions. Okay. But I do want to mention that per Rear Admiral at RA's ad, he's a Spit and Chicklets co-host, recently followed me and then unfollowed me, mentioned that Eddie Shack, former Bruin, passed away this morning. I'm not sure details on how old he was, but I will say that research of Eddie Shack is impressive, but when you get that character feeling from him, listen to the podcast that he's been on recently. He was a great guy. What a funny guy, and really loved the game of hockey and traveling, family and teammates. It was just unbelievable. So rest in peace, former Bruin Eddie Shack.
Yeah, rest in peace.
So Heather, where we go to now?
Okay, so we talked a little bit about what we're expecting in the bubble. You know, each team's going to have their own floor, whatnot. Like I said, it sounds like it's very serious. These hygiene officers are not messing around about your face masks and social distancing and whatnot, which is good. So I thought maybe we could talk a little about the first 4 games, exhibition, and the 3 round robin games. I guess that's what they're being called, right? Play-in versus round robin games.
Hit me with it.
And I'll just say whatever, we'll go down the list. I was too lazy to look up like where the games are broadcasting. So
I know. Per a friend of mine who knows a producer at Nesson, there's going to be 2 of 3 games that are going to be televised on Nesson. So Nesson's going to have 4 cameras in the building in Toronto, Scotiabank Arena. Jack and Brick are going to be back in the studio doing it remotely. So,
well, yeah, they had their plexiglass. It was showing them putting up all that.
Yeah, so they will do that. And after the play-in rounds, or what we're calling a round robin, NBC will have the world feed out of Toronto from there on out. So Nesson will have a little taste of what's going on, but the rest of the way going into the Cup final is all going to be on NBC.
Yeah.
In Edmonton, it's the same thing. They're using Sportsnet as their Canadian broadcaster. I'm sure they're going to do minor feeds in the play-in round and so on, and then take complete control of when things really get aggressive and heading down to the Cup final. So,
yeah, everything looks like it's mostly on Sportsnet, obviously, for the Canadian broadcasts. Yeah, I always say that. NBC Sports, regular NBC, because our first game Sunday is on regular NBC, I think. And sports, the NHL Network, for anybody who has that, obviously, you probably will get a lot of the games too. All right, so the first game that we play is actually the exhibition game against the Columbus Blue Jackets next Thursday, the 30th, 7 p.m. We played 2 games against them this year, which, again, we know means crap because now it's been 5 months or whatever, but we did not have the best run. They beat us twice, once regular and once in one of our lovely overtime losses. What say you? How do you think that is that a good? I think that's a good warm-up game for the Bruins because Columbus, maybe they're kind of like a middle pack if you look at the whole league team stat-wise, but they are a good team,
For me, honestly, I'll tell you something right now. This is a game that the Bruins might want to take seriously. Now, hear me out, okay? Listeners, YouTube viewers, and you, Heather. This is the thing. I kind of have a feeling that Columbus might be around a little longer. I don't know this for a fact because who knows what Columbus Blue Jackets what team you're gonna get. Are you gonna get the team that is so aggressive against the Tampa Bay Lightning last year in the first round that swept them? I don't know. You probably could. But this is really going to come down to goaltending. And if that Elvis Merzlikins character is on top of his game, even after all of this rest and 2-week, air quote, training camp, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So you have to get to a goaltender like this. You have to get him rattled. It doesn't matter if it's exhibition or not, but play it like it's a playoff game. So I would seriously expect a playoff lineup. I'm not sure if you would actually see some of the Black Aces in this one. Hopefully they do, because I'd like to see what happens and so on. But on the other end of the stick, and during COVID times like this, and the schedule that's going to be coming up in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you got to plan ahead. I mean, who knows if Columbus goes even that further, but you still want to be ready. I just think this exhibition game is going to be a little more important than people think.
Yeah, I think that's one thing people like, oh, especially even like, oh, well, now the Bruins are playing for seeding. Yeah, well, that can determine everything, right? Because there are certain teams like a Columbus that we struggle with. They might not always be recognized as one of the better teams, and they've certainly had their own problems. But what they've done as a team, considering they are not the same team they were last year, like all the big names, see ya, like you're not here anymore, and they are still – they might not have made the playoffs in the regular thing, but we had a lot of teams in the East that may or may not have been in the wild card or whatever situation. I agree with you. I think it should be who you're planning on playing Philly. Do you know what I mean? Like, if possible, again, we don't know, Kasha, Pasta, whatever. I don't think that's the time you black aces. Now, maybe during the round robin, if you want to throw, on the third and fourth line, let them get a little feel, warm up. That's one thing. I agree with you too about the goal, because Columbus has 2 young goaltenders. So no matter who's in net,
Yeah, Corpusalo.
rock them a little. Yeah, because they this is the first time. Elvis is kind of the new Jordan Bennington. Like, you're a little older.
Good
you're
comparison.
still young enough as a goaltender. You could have a good few-year run, but I mean, who knows? I mean, look at Bennington. You know how I feel about him, and I still, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think that Columbus is going to be a good matchup too, because for everyone's complaining about the Bruins. Sorry, I have a sign that says "Don't swear." I was complaining about the Bruins, and we weren't tough enough against the Blues, which I don't think was necessarily the problem. I still say scoring was a bigger problem than the toughness. We didn't
Finally agree on something.
But once we started letting them outpace us and, like control it, then we had lost it to them, because they are, so Columbus is a good for that. Like, hello, boys, remember what it's like to play a kind of bang, 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 because no matter what anyone says about last year, it was an easy run, this and that. I was worried about playing Columbus in the second round because of the way they were playing, and because they are big bodies, and because they know how to use those big bodies. Like, doesn't matter if you get pummeled to death all day long. So bounce back from that. Okay, good. We had a good warm up against a kind of heavier lifting team. Now let's go play Philly, who's more of a, thing. Want to talk about that? First real game for the robin.
Philly's going to be a good one, because you're going to get into just with like Elvis Merzlikins and so on. You're going to get right into the first game of the play-in round robin, and you're gonna face a hot goaltender in Carter Hart. He's got back issues right now. From everything that I've read from Philly papers, Philly, websites and so on, and listening to the Pod Street Bullies podcast with Bob and John Gove. Those guys do a fantastic job. Carter Hart is currently going through some back troubles. I'm not sure if it's going to hold them out of these games, but if it does, you really got to take advantage of the goaltending on that. There's no reason why, even in sloppy hockey game 1 in the play-in round, you have to put pucks on net to a goaltender that's probably not going to be used to it. And I understand everybody's starting on an even plane here when it comes to goaltending and starting off. Everybody's going to be rusty and so on. I get it. But some of these guys were on some serious runs. And if you can rest up like Tuukka Rask does, and we've seen, and we're heavily biased on the Bruins podcast here, but we've seen what Tuukka can do on a week or 2 rest after he's done decompressing and getting a little bit of extra, time off, away from the rink, away from the ice, away from the team. He comes back very focused and determined. So, I mean, everything's just like going to come at us at once. But for me, it's goaltending in a lot of these rounds that are really going to have to be able to take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, which is ironic because they're the ones whose like brain times and stuff have to be the quickest, and like they could use a +2 on anybody skating and shooting. Do you know what I mean? Like a couple extra days on that. So no, it'll be interesting. But Philly's another team like Columbus. We beat them, obviously. That Philly was our last game on the 10th of March before we shut down. They were hotter than the 7th ring of Dante's Inferno, whatever. But we lost to them twice in overtime too. And that's the thing, is I'm not quite sure how exactly the seeding point thing works yet. You know what I mean?
We did win one game. We shut them out.
We won the last game too.
the last game of the regular season, we beat them 2-0. Took a rash shout out, by the way.
So then Wednesday, the 5th of August. I can't believe it's August already. Jeez,
I know.
Louise. I can't believe we're talking about hockey in August. This is so strange.
Crazy.
Okay, so 4 o'clock. Oh, sorry. The Philly game's at 3 o'clock. That's on NBC. The Tampa Bay game on Wednesday is on at 4 o'clock. Tampa's Tampa. I mean, what do you say? Like, this game's obviously Tampa and Boston are weird because for a decade now, we've both been kind of the same team. Maybe not the same makeup, but kind of the same, like, top of the run packs. But what kind of team are you going to get? Like, so that ought to be a good game, I think. And like you said, I don't know how seriously everyone's going to, especially the top 4 teams in each conference, are going to go heavy or go hard? Are they going to kind of try to go medium heavy and maybe let some of the younger guys get a little look before the actual playoffs start? I don't know, but Tampa Bay, as always, they usually beat us. So we lost to them once, and they beat us in overtime too. Well, we lost twice to them. Sorry, beat us in overtime. I'm mad about that overtime because we had that game, the whole game.
For me, the whole thing with that is goaltending again, is what you're going to see out of Vasilevsky. And as a forward, the impending participation of Steven Stamkos is, because he's having some injury troubles. He could be back as soon as possible, but definitely somebody that's going to, bears watching, because he's a lethal. I mean, everybody, Kucherov on that team. It's just, they're absolutely disgusting. And it makes me wonder how a team like Columbus can just run them over like that. But it's proof in the pudding that you can get gassed at a certain point. You could be a record breaking or a record tying freaking season by points in the regular season and just get so gassed in the playoffs that you don't have enough, then you get out by a lower seed. But this is also a team that has a disgusting freaking lineup when you think about the offensive production that can be brought out. And, there's always that 50-50 roll of the dice in the postseason with any of these teams, especially ones as tight as Tampa Bay. So, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see a game in this playing round like we did with the in 2011. I'm not sure. Was it 11? That series or the last game? No penalties. Penalties. It was absolutely disgusting.
Is that the one when Stamkos took the puck off the face?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I was saying Vasilevsky's been the most consistent thing that they've had going for them. They're going to be hopped up on redemption, right? Because their whole year they've had to deal with, for everyone who's saying it's not a big deal to be the President's Trophy winner, I do agree, because sometimes to win the cup, it is not like, no, I want to be second, I don't want to be first or whatever. But we're going to see what happens if Vasilevsky can come off the bat being Vasilevsky, and we're going to figure out what's going to happen now. Last year, Hedman was struggling with injury and was in and out and stuff. That didn't help them in the Tampa Bay in the first round last year at all. And obviously Victor Hedman is Victor Hedman. So that ought to put a little wrench too. And it's always exciting when Tampa Bay and Boston play each other. So I'm really pumped for that game. All right, Sunday, the 9th, Tampa Bay. We're going to play Washington sometime. I don't know. It's TBD. I'm guessing because they're trying to figure out what happens with the first 10 days of testing once they're in the bubble. Obviously makes sense. Good move. As it goes with Washington, you win some, you lose some. You lose some in overtime. How do you feel about them?
I'm going to gravitate to goaltending on this one, too. It's weird. I'm a goaltender. I'm a puck eater, and I often do that. And I'm sorry if I bore people with my goaltending talk. But it's going to be interesting on what goaltender we actually see. Braden Holtby has the experience, has the cup. But I'm not sure if he's actually brought it to his full extent. This is a contract year for him too, by the way. I mean, he's a free agent whenever the friggin', the off season is.
In October.
And Ilya Samsonov has been playing really, really well, turning a lot of heads as a prospect. And we'll see what happens, but wow. I mean, And the offense is always going to be there. You got OV that's constantly going to be a threat if you take a penalty.
Nick Lindstrom, who I love, Nick Lindstrom, Nicky Backstrom, who I love so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great
called him
center.
Nick Lindstrom. I love him so much. I got him confused with a totally different player from a different era, but whatever.
He gets so underrated sometimes. I think him and Jonathan Huberdeau are just like so forgotten up the middle in a lot of talks about good centers.
Yeah, I was happy when Ovi got his cup or whatever thing, but I was twice as happy when Nicky got his cup too. And that was a moment when they turned around before they turned the mics down and didn't there.
So for me on this series, it's going to really matter of the trend on what's going on between these two organizations, because they obviously don't like each other. And Washington obviously really steps up their game when they play the Boston Bruins. And you can see it in the past. We've had a little bit of luck towards the end. I think we've got a winning record with 2 games the last time we played them. But before that, it's a terrible, terrible matchup, regardless of its postseason or regular season. I've even passed up tickets to see these two play at TD Garden, and there were good seats down in the loge. And I just said, I want to go see a game that the Bruins have potential to win. And with the trend that was going on against Washington and the group I was going with, oh my God, if they lost, I don't know. Tomorrow, the next day would have been a freaking terrible day. But anyway.
Hopi, he struggled a lot this year.
He did. That's why I was saying.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Santanoff.
He looked all right during camp, but yeah, because Samsonov had to save his butt a few times this year, but whatever, it happens. No one's perfect. Everybody has bad years. You know what I mean? Some people make a career out of being hot, cold. He's very strange as a starting goaltender because you never know if he's going to play like a starting goaltender. When Vasilevsky or Tuukka has a bad day, well, I mean, not if you're in Boston, but normal people, if they see a goaltender, they have a bad day, you're like, oh, they're still one of the top goaltenders in the league. They just had a bad day and it was ugly, right? But with Holtby, it's sometimes you don't feel like he's a starting goaltender. He's not in a good place where he's set or whatever it is. But I'm hoping we get him on that Sunday or whatever, because is it Sunday? I don't know. I already forgot. Yep, Sunday the 9th. All right, so those are the first games that we're playing. I can't wait. It seems like forever why they got to drag it out. Why? Because they're playing 105 games of hockey a day, which is going to be awesome. Nobody's getting any sleep. But at the same time, you can still get to bed before you normally would for playoffs. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Once it starts and you're like, oh, I'm only going to watch one period of the West Coast game. And then you're like, oh, man. And then next thing you know, there's at least once upon a time. I don't mind these
4:00 Bruins games, man. I get out of work, come home, start tossing back a couple drinks, and then by the time the game's over at 7, you got a nice little bun on and you're passed out and ready for work the next day.
Whether you're happy or mad, you're just gonna be like, never mind, I'm done with today anyway. I thought someone had mentioned it, but we had kind of talked about doing it anyways, and I think we might have done it last week when the recording messed up. I don't know, but I just thought I'll just run down the matchups for the 8 matchups for playing, and you just pick who you might pick. So we'll do the East, obviously. That's most important to us. And again, seeding. I need to be 1 or 2 depending for the seeding because I don't want to be ranked number 4th after all of this. But Carolina versus the Rangers. I take the Rangers. You?
Oh, I am going to go Carolina because of the Carolina defense. Jacob Slavin, I think, is going to be a force in this. And also, I believe Noah Hannafin still plays for that team. No, it could be Calgary.
I'm not sure, but Dougie Hamilton might be hurt again on some level, depending on what that level of injury is. I think is going to make the difference.
From the Athletic, Sarah Sivian, fantastic writer for the Carolina Hurricanes. She mentions that he could be playing.
Yeah,
close.
That's what I said. I'm not saying it's a major injury, and they've said it wasn't re-aggravation how he hurt his leg last season. Yeah. But I don't know. He was a player. You know how I feel about him, but he was hot.
I just want to clarify my mistake. Noah Hannafin does play for the Calgary Flames. He was traded for Dougie Hamilton. My bad.
Sorry.
But no. That defense, the Carolina defense is very good. It's very good. Goaltending still skeptic. I mean, I think they have James Reimer, and that's Steve Dangle's favorite human being. By the way, I heard Steve Dangle's dog passed away. Yeah, and on a happier note, is he have a baby?
Yeah, last month he had a baby, Leo.
Oh my God, he kept that. They kept that quiet.
They didn't say a single word. It was like the baby's here.
Wow.
Yeah,
because I thought he was watching Adam Wild's kid on one of his on
YouTube,
Steve Dangle
that's his
podcast
kid.
videos. Holy crap! Congratulations, Steve Dangle and Mrs.
There's
Dangle.
been a lot of hockey babies born in the last month, and
Of
probably a
course,
lot more.
everybody gets it on in
born.
September, and then they do their freaking hockey season. And by the time summer comes around, it's baby season.
Baby season, exactly. Like
Unbelievable.
probably in the springtime there'll be some baby season happening again in the NHL. So let's see, Toronto versus Columbus. I'm taking Columbus because Toronto is still Toronto, and that's my answer.
Yeah, I'm going Columbus because I hate the Leafs. Plain and simple. They don't have a defense. You cannot rely on Freddie Anderson, even though he's a good goaltender and so on.
Yep.
You don't know what he's gonna do with a terrible defense in front of him. The offense can be a benefiting factor of a winning style if you could put as many pucks in the net. I mean, you have Matthews, you have Tavares, you have what's his name?
Mitch Marner.
Yeah. You have those guys in there. They could definitely put those goals up there to get a little gap between losing and, a tight game. More goals is always good.
Yeah, but too much offense and not enough defense is never good. And
No, I know.
I don't want them to win. I think Columbus is going to beat them, but I like the irony of Toronto not even making the first round in their own building. That kind of makes me happy. Sorry, Leafs fans, but I'm just saying. That's not because I think anybody in this is a joke. I mean, if you're going to have 12 teams on each side start, whatever. But all right, so what are we doing now? Pittsburgh, Montreal. I want to pick Montreal because I'm sick of Pittsburgh, but let's face it, Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, and they are meant for the playoffs, and Montreal was not meant for the playoffs. Gravitating
to goaltending again in this series, it's really going to be up to what Carey Price does. The veteran has always been the type of player that you could put any situation on his shoulders, and he can run with it. But he can also be that type of goaltender that gets frustrated when he's like the guy to go to save games. I mean, I hate Montreal in all respect. I want Pittsburgh to win, but this could be a sneakily good team for them. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Their problem is, like we talk about sometimes your team's a little too young, and they're still having that like transitioning, which is so funny with Coach Clark.
Shea Weber's coming back too.
Yeah, and
he already killed the goal. He already killed his practice goaltender. Did you see that?
I love Carey Price, but I have a feeling if things go bad in this round robin, we're gonna have a Patrick Roy moment, but with Carey Price. And it's not gonna be pretty. And it's not going to be pretty all around. No, I don't know that to be true, but that's all I can think is Carey Price is aging out. He wants to, he wants to at least feel like he might win a cup. That's all he's asking. He knows he's probably not going to win one if he stays here, but he just wants to feel like maybe they could win a round, or something. No, but I do agree. Like Montreal, I think could, but I think maybe they're just inexperienced because they haven't been a playoff team too. So even the young kids who have had a couple years experience playing up on the NHL level, like that, I think is going to be their biggest detriment. Also, if Malkin starts popping off, just whatever. To me, you know how I feel. I love Malkin. Everybody loves Crosby, not me. I love Malkin. I think he's always been in the shadow of Sidney. Yes and no. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he doesn't get recognized, but I'm still mad he didn't win the Conn Smythe a couple years ago when they won the cup. How can you have the most points in the playoffs and not win the Conn Smythe? That doesn't make sense. If your team won the cup.
Did you hear on Chicklets the game he had 5 assists and was smashing his stick after the game, pissed off because he didn't get a goal?
Yeah.
You had 5 freaking helpers, man.
Then when they came in, like Ovi used to chirp him all the time, but he didn't know how to speak English, and Ovi was a little better at the English. So like, it was interesting because we didn't get the dynamic of them coming from Russia, like, or their personalities yet. But it's funny to watch. Totally, I don't know. Like, I just feel like Malkin is sick. So if he goes off, yeah, he might be smashing crap. Who knows? See what happens. But all right, so Islanders, Panthers. I'm gonna take the Panthers. I trust in Coach Q, and I think they have some. I think they're a little underrated. They haven't performed the way that they should have maybe this year, but I do think that they have a good team. I don't think they're winning the cup, but I think they might win a round or two if they get hot and goaltending's working. And
yeah, goaltending's another big thing for Bobrovsky and his $10 million. I know that we're not doing the whole money cap space on 2020 playoffs or anything like that, but I mean. There's going to be a lot on his shoulders. But up front, you got Huberdeau. You got Aaron Ekblad, solid defenseman. He could probably have a great playoff series. There's Frank Petrano, former Bruin. I mean, he was basically on fire when he got traded to there to find a better opportunity in Miami. I don't know, but I hate to say this, but like losing like Vincent Trocheck to Carolina was, I don't know if that's going to be enough for that team to make serious news. I like that player. He was good.
I think they can beat the Islanders though.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, you got 2 coaches. You got Q and you got I can't remember his name now.
Yeah, I mean, neither off the top of my head. Giant Islanders. Sorry.
He's got the neck like this.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
God damn it.
I don't care about the Islanders enough. I'm sorry. But they're inconsistent. That's what, like, the Islanders are a good
Barry
team.
Trotz.
Like, they're inconsistent.
Barry.
Yeah,
how can you forget Barry?
Because I don't care. He's the guy that used to coach St. Louis to me now. Like, a good coach. It's not that I don't like you, but I don't love him the way I love Coach Washington, sorry. Why'd I say?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. What'd I say? St. Louis, sorry.
You did too.
Wrong coach that got fired over there. Sorry. My bad. Although that was an interesting move when they released him. Like, so we won the Stanley Cup and now I don't have a job. That's messed up. Just kidding. No,
yeah.
All right. Just one word answer for the West real quick. Flames, Jets.
Jets. Hellebuck's been unbelievable. So, and probably going to be the Vezina Trophy. So, yeah.
We'll get to that. I picked the Flames. Oilers, Blackhawks.
I'm gonna go Hawks. Goaltending again. Wow, this is a goaltending show. I don't believe Mike Smith has enough in the tank to get the Oilers past a round.
I think they have enough to get through not for goaltending, but enough other parts to make it through Edmonton through beating Chicago. And I think they have the added, like, they're playing for Colby, so they're going to be hopped up on that. They're in their home arena, even though they don't get the luxuries of being the home team. It's their place, and it's going to be extra important. My thing is that the Blackhawks are like Pittsburgh. Like, they're like, all right, you're going to let us in the playoffs? That's cool. Like, and it could happen. And I do think the goaltending is better on the Blackhawks side. But so I guess I'm indifferent on that one. But I do think the Oilers might, just from being hyped up and ready to, might carry them. All right, Vancouver versus the Wild. Vancouver.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vancouver. I like the Wild and everything, but I just think that they needed another year or two to get Bill Guerin into a mode of where he can construct a solid team and build on his terms to get really good in the postseason. So, yeah, Vancouver. Pedersen, the goaltending of Markstrom. I mean, Markstrom could have been easily a Vezina Trophy candidate and so on because he played really well. And DPH, not DPHO. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, Vancouver's really good. I mean, you got the Brock Vessers and Jake Virtanen and so on. I mean, it's just that's a pretty solid lineup that could make some noise.
Also, I just think I want Canadian teams to be in there, just not Toronto and Montreal.
There you go. I'm down with that. I'm down with
how
that.
about Nashville versus Coyotes? This is a hard one for me. I do love Pekka. I do think that the Predators are a good team. They're really weird because sometimes they're finalists And sometimes they're like, wow, how did they fall apart that quick? You don't know what you're going to get with them. But I'm going to go with the Coyotes because I feel like this is going to be a fresh start for them, this restart. Like, everyone gets a free start, but I feel like all the Taylor Hall drama will settle down. Phil Kessel actually was looking conditioned on the ice for a short camp coming back. And I'm just going to give it – they need something. Their fans need something. I guess they need it more than Smashville. That's just me.
I'm a huge fan of Paul Bissonnette. He covers the Arizona Coyotes and the one of the hosts on the Spit and Chickler podcast. So I hope that they do good. I heard something about OEL, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, probably being injured. I'm not sure. That would, if it's true, or I'm just like crazy. But if it's true that he's injured, that could be a huge step backwards in their defense. But if you're looking forward, like you said, Kessel's looking good. You know he can put the puck in the net on a regular basis. And Taylor Hall, wherever his head's at and what he wants to do, hopefully puts his team first before future contracts and so on. I think he can be a benefiting factor in a tight series offensively.
They have a good tandem, too, goaltender tandem in Arizona.
Yeah, Darcy Kemper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a young goaltender that played. He's been around the Minnesota area and so on. So basically played a lot with wow, I'm terrible with names today. But I am gonna go with.
That's a hard one.
I know. I'm not gonna go with Phoenix. I'm gonna go with. Who are they playing?
They're playing Nashville.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nashville. I don't – that's a tight one. Oh, that's a 50-50 one.
That one's a hard one. Yeah.
I'm going to go with experience on this one. You know, the Nashville Predators, they have Pecorine. They have been to a Stanley Cup final. They have been doing good recently in the past couple of years. But it's 50-50. But I'm going to how about 51-49? I'm going Nashville.
Okay, yeah. All you had was a regular majority. You didn't need a super majority on that. That one is a hard series to decide. Okay, so that's the end of that one. Did you want to pause for like a store next door or something?
Yeah, why don't we do that? And let me grab something right here. We do have we're going to take a break because I need to use the men's room. But we are going to stop and talk about the store next door. This is a great place to shop for items that are made by people with disabilities that get a paycheck and live regular lives just like you and I that have jobs and so on. But they make this really cool stuff out of used hockey sticks. So this right here is it's like a pen holder for your desk. Or you could put it on your in your bathroom and hold your toothbrush. But it's unbelievable, you know. And they make benches, they make tables, they make all kinds of great stuff out of used hockey sticks. So if you need anything for the man cave, fan cave, whatever, your bar, your patio, your deck, go to the storenextdoor.ca. Look at their brochure. They do tremendous stuff. They ship worldwide, and you're helping out a great cause. They're from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and they just an unbelievable company. And we're glad to be working with them. Glad to be buying products from them to support them and using them into our Patreon giveaways. If you want to get involved in a Patreon giveaway and have a chance to have an item from the store next door. .ca. Please go to patreon.com/Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Donate $1, and you could be eligible to win a great item from these great people to the north. So, with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for some more Bruins talk and some probably me and Heather bashing our heads together and probably disagreeing.
We're not fighting as much as I thought we were going to fight today.
Yeah, I know. I'm toning it down because it's showtime, but you know how much I talk offline.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We'll be right back.
There's a lot of people with disabilities that can't just go out and find a job. So we set out to create a business to fill those needs, one stick at a time. The store next Star Gift Shop is a Yarmouth-based manufacturer and retail outlet store. So we make great ideas that any of our employees come up with, and we reuse and recycle as much as possible. Our most popular item is probably our hockey furniture. We take broken hockey sticks and turn them into different products. We go through a lot of hockey sticks. A whole lot. Considering that it's only been a year and we're shipping internationally, I think that that's been a huge success. Most people's reactions are, wow, you do this here? We don't accept can't here. Everyone here learns in different ways, but we want to give everybody every opportunity to find exactly what works for them. There's nothing better than when a customer buys something and then one of our employees say, I made that. They have meaningful lives and build things they can be proud of and get a paycheck for it. I'm Amy Acker, and we change lives one job at a time.
Hey, Bruins fans, welcome back to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. We just heard from the great folks at the store next door during that commercial break. Just want to show you guys the thestorenextdoor.ca. They have these fantastic items. I also bought a set of four of drink holders. You can't see them because my shit's not working over here, but that's a hockey stick all inside there. 4 drink coasters. Unbelievable products. Go shop there, help them out. Great cause. But we are back, talk some Bruins hockey. The Bruins, what the Bruins, the Bruins.
I'm going to remind you, don't swear.
Yes, we're not swearing on this show because we have
today.
We might have some longtime Amesbury residents hanging on to as far as this episode was, because we did talk a great deal about a very valued member of the hockey community and just a general great guy, great teacher, Leo Durpe. So if you're still with us, hopefully you continue on and listen to the future content and come back next week for some more, which we're probably going to go out a little off the rails and lose you.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more like bad words probably.
Yeah, I mean we don't absolutely go crazy on the explicitive and so on, but we do carry a explicitive tag on every episode just in case something pops off. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way we are. So if you happen to stick around, we certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for staying with us.
Yeah.
If you come back, just know it'll be basically the same, but maybe a little more profanity here and there, accidentally, mostly.
Well, I'll tell you something. We're doing a lot better than last week. Oh, God.
Dear God, let this recording come out, because last week I felt so bad. I could just see it on your face the minute I connected to the Zoom call. It was like, oh, this is going to be fun. Then I was like, oh, okay, well, that didn't go bad. We did it, flew through it.
It was so
all right.
crabby, unhappy.
And then when you have a text me like, 30 minutes.
I know.
Like, oh, of course.
Apologize for the technical difficulties.
Well,
it happened.
For the sake of prosperity, hopefully the recording is still recording and we are still continuing at this point as we should be.
I went back to 2 ways of recording. One is on the Zoom for the YouTube viewers, and I also have the just another recording on GarageBand over there on my laptop. So iMac for the YouTube viewers and I MacBook for the audio backup. So in case Zoom screws up, and honestly, to the listeners out there, if you want to record a podcast and so on, be very careful with Zoom, because it's so hit or miss. We've gone like 8-9 weeks with perfect audio and video, and then all of a sudden a curveball comes out in the 10th week, and we get complete audio, complete video on the YouTube side, but when it comes out on the audio, we get like half a show. It's just ridiculous. I don't get it.
Wouldn't it be fun, though, if you just posted the video and people could try and guess what we're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
The second half of the show, and just see who sticks around for the second half of the podcast on YouTube to see, hey, what do you think they're saying? What's going on? All right, let's move on, though, with this podcast. Let's talk a little, or like you want to talk a little about Fluto's article about having 4 goaltenders, and we had talked about, Yarrow and Tuukka splitting time, and I think Chris Blackie asked us last week, it got lost to the Zoom world. So you go on your goaltenders. Yeah,
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Fluto Sanzawa. He writes for The Athletic. I highly suggest you go over there and get a subscription. It's like a couple dollars a month. It's not that bad, and they do great work. So, but he wrote an article that kind of threw a curveball at me, and this is this is very unfluto-like, in my opinion. And I'm not trashing him. I'm going to continue to read him. I'm going to continue to support the website. But this was just one that just came out of left field for me. And the reason he said that they should, he brought up 1973, okay? And that was the year that the Bruins last used a backup goaltender in the Stanley Cup playoffs or the playoffs. And I just didn't see the relevancy in that wording. And the article is great. I get it and so on, but the way it came off, it was just like, these are tough times you have to consider. This is so unordinary from any other postseason that we've ever been or seen as human beings, a lot of us. And if you're still around to see the first pandemic, good on you. Man, you've really done some good work. But this is just a different situation. You know what I mean? What if we get in the bubble and that bubble's not secure? What if that bubble is like a nasty breakout and Tuukka Rask and Yaro are out? You're going to need those 2 extra guys around. They're not going against – those 2 extra spots aren't going against your total roster for going into the bubble. You can carry up to 4 goaltenders and still have your lineup of forwards and defensemen and carry maybe even a little extra there too. So I see the need to have it in case something happens. You always need that because if you're not in the bubble with 4 goaltenders, Heather – isn't it hard to get in the bubble later on when you need to?
Yeah. According to the wording, it seems you're in by a certain date or you don't come in at all. Obviously, there are exceptions for family emergencies or whatever to get permission, but even that's like you got to get your GM's permit, so my
do you get where I'm coming from?
I do. It is unconventional to have the 4 goaltenders, and I get where he's coming from on that, and it hasn't happened in a while. But it's also the nature of having the expanded rosters, which, like you said, it doesn't actually count against the rosters. But it's something the NHL decided that because of how, and this is my more concern, is not how Yaro and Tuukka will perform, because I think they're both outstanding. I already broke my own rules. Sorry.
I got
Outstanding goaltenders. But it is also a short time span with little ramp up and not the same kind of rest you get in a traditional offseason since the shutdown. And injuries are going to happen through these 4 games we talked about and the round robin games or whatever, their best of 5 series. I write the round robin, the play-in series. Injuries are going to happen, and injuries are going to happen to the top stars because they're the ones that play the most minutes and they take the most abuse and they whatever, okay? Another reason to maybe not throw us to Nika or whoever, right in the fire, because we might need them in 2 weeks to be in the fire for us, But it makes sense to me you would want to carry more because, like you said, you can't, say you carry 3 goaltenders. Well, what if something happens to 1 and 2? And freakishly, these things happen. This is how, the weird emergency goalies end up on the ice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't sneak Vladeshin after the bubble's closed if you bring Lagasse or whoever, vice versa, so it makes more sense to just bring them with you. If you don't need them, great. At least they got to come for the ride and experience it with the 31 dudes or whatever that are getting to go.
And that's exactly another point that I wanted to touch on was the experience. Not so much for Max Lagasse. It's good personal experience for him to be a part of the organization, which I'm guessing – he's probably not going to be in the picture during the off season. So under contract, he's doing what he's got to do to be that black ace and be a solid teammate to this organization. So, but for Vladesh, I feel that this is really something important for him to be around. Learn the winning culture at this particular level. Postseason's totally different. You come up for the regular season and you sit on that bench, opening the door and so on. You're getting a part of it. But really, you're getting Boston passion by being involved in something like this and moving forward in his development, which I continue to believe is going to be a very, very good NHL career for this guy. If Bob Ascent is still around and Mike Dunham is still around to teach this Vladesh guy, I think he's going to be something special. So to have him around and absorb this like a sponge is huge. So and to have as a backup. I mean, he had small sample size down in Providence from December 1st after a high ankle sprain. This kid had it. This kid was putting up AHL numbers at the top. I mean, goals against average below 2, 93 save percentage, fucking ridiculous. But I just
Second
think that
half we're losing it.
yeah, I just think that this is going to be good benefit for both of them. I just didn't get the whole wording of Fluto's article, and there's no disrespect to Fluto at all. I mean, I totally respect him. Hey, did we talk about this already? But did you hear Joe McDonald got laid off?
I had seen that, but no, we didn't talk about
He's been
it.
He's been very quiet on the Twitter machine, and I happened to go look at his profile, and the Boston Athletic is not listed on his profile. So I think he was one of the guys that got the axe and the whole layoff.
Because that's another thing with like the bubble having very short media access. I mean, quite frankly, the NHL doesn't have to let there be any media access inside that bubble. They could have everything virtually from everybody stay home, go to your whatever, feel free. I'll give you the login for the special, whatever. But it does stink because a lot of good journalists and whatever, whether you're a writer or you podcast or you just like do Twitter feed, whatever, like people who are in the room and in the locker room traditionally, quote unquote, are losing their places. But that's unfortunate because they're not expanding media at this time. But I mean, hopefully everyone will land on their feet. It's a crazy year, and I mean, we just got to get through it, kind of thing. I was going to say about with Vladesh, sorry, just on another thing, not like Joe McDonald, hopefully we get him soon. You know what I mean? If that is the case, that we need people like him.
He'll catch on somewhere. I guarantee it.
Right. Vladesh too, I think it's important. Like, as you know, you love goalies and you are a goaltender, and goalies are like a beast onto their own self. So I think it's important for that kid to see Tuukka and Yarrow work. Like you said, it's not about even just being in the atmosphere. That's one part of, say, that kind of situation. But see what happens. What happens when you have a Vezina trophy winner, you know what I mean?
Yep. Fall
apart maybe on a game, or how just the interaction between Yarrow and Tuukka, how it's not oh, if Yarrow's there, Tuukka's not crying on the bench. He's like, good, I'm taking a rest. I trust you. Like just that kind of
look at the future too. Look at the future too, Heather, is if you put Vladesh and a Jeremy Swayman as a tandem in the future, I think those two goaltenders could be very, very, very lethal between the pipes.
That's what I want, right? Because we're not going to always have this luckily we know we're going to have this tandem again next year, at least because Tuukka's signed and we re-signed Yarrow. He's one of the only people we've re-signed besides when Coyle got his extension.
Here's a question to you real quick, and this might expand onto Chris Blackie, host of the Big Bad Bruins podcast, question on the Ask B&G last week that got cut off short. We know how Tuukka Rask thrives on less games during the regular season, heavy reliance on Yaroslav Halak, okay, and the trust of the Bruins coaching staff. In the future, what would you do about the younger guys? And the Vladesh and Swayman situation, would you do the same and like kind of like give them even numbers, or would you ride a younger goaltender that the body can basically absorb a 50 or 60 game start season?
Okay, so obviously, one of the people I heart more than anything, at least as a hockey player, I know some shady things maybe as a human being, but is Martin Brodeur, right? And gone is the generation in the old time when a goaltender, just like pitchers used to pitch all 9 innings of the game. Goalies used to play 79 of the 82 games, right? Gone is that type of goaltender. So on some level, all younger goaltenders coming up are used to having a split. But for me, you should always have a starting goaltender. Like for me, and this is when I get annoyed with Tuukka Rask, because I'm not saying he needs to play 80% of the games, but he should be able to play 80% of the games because you're the guy that we picked to be the starter. I do think we live in an age where it's important to have a tandem. So I guess you figure out once you have them together and they're kind of working, these are the goalies of our future, that's the plan. Whoever the one that looks more like a real starting goaltender, quote unquote, like that used to look like, right? like a Carey Price who still carries his team on his back because there's really no other options for it to happen. That's the guy you have the majority of the games. Now, we also know Tuukka, like the way we have the system now is also partly just because of Tuukka himself and what he's comfortable with. And as a player, the system he kind of plays best in, right? So maybe one of these younger guys will be able to play 70 games and, or whatever. We don't know. But I would say you always pick a number one. I am all for having an A and B, but you should always have an A primarily. And that A is the person that you drive. So like right now with Yarrow and Tuukka, they need to split time for practical reasons. You need both of them warmed up, right? Tuukka needs rest. It makes more sense for them to split the warm-ups and maybe even the first round, right, to get through, because we know you can rely on both of them because they have – also, too, with them, you can do this kind of tandem because they both have the experience. Yarrow's been a starter. He's been a backup. He's a very good role player. And the young kids they haven't developed that yet. So we also don't know what their personalities and what comes out in them or what the goalie coaches bring out in them on how their tandem might look. But all these people, like, it's not a big deal. Like, yes, Tuukka is good when he's got rest, right? But you also don't want people getting more hurt. He got hurt just at practice. So, like, once they're in game, you don't want him to get more hurt if he's going to play through, whether it's totally healed or not. And you want Yarrow warmed up because he is the guy you're going to rely on if Tuukka can't go. You're not going to all of a sudden say, all right, Max Lagacé, you're in. No, you're what happens when neither of them can start, And someday maybe you'll still be a backup somewhere. Who knows? Maybe he will get a year extension contract here just to have the veteran kind of, he's more veteran down there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
no, I know, but I don't see Lagacé sticking around and being the third-headed monster.
Oh no, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying if they need a third and that's what they think is the best decision.
Yeah. In the
you
playoffs,
can throw a low level at him to maybe keep him around next year if you need him. Yeah. It makes sense. He's the guy though that's there now because he is, more experienced and maybe not so much, throwing in the Stanley Cup kind of fire, but just generally
16
like
regular season games with Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's been around. He's never been like a top thing, but he's had some runs where he's played some games with some organizations, which is good. And that's good too, that he's been down there with like Vladesh and them who are young, and working with them because if anything, he does have experience just generally seeing how the game grows, like kind of how to approach this level.
I thought he had a great year. And meeting him for the first time and interviewing him, I think I got him 3 times in the regular season. It could be 4 times that I talked to him after games. He's just a real class act, and he's just a really good middle depth goaltender. And hopefully he catches on if he's not in black and gold. But kudos to him playing homage to the old Andy Moog mask. Pretty impressive, huh?
Yeah. Andy Moog. Remember when Andy Moog got traded? It was like or whatever. It was like
the worst Dallas, didn't he? Or was it Montreal?
No, it wasn't. I think it was Minnesota right before they became Dallas, or right after they did. Because it all happened at the same time. First of all, it was like, dude, I felt for the North Star fans.
And then he went to Montreal, right?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
But I think everything's gonna be all right, and I don't think it's that weird because we're probably not the only squad with 4 goaltenders. We love Flutos. That's just it. That's that.
Yeah, it's just something I wanted to bring up that it's important because, I think the narrative also sparked some speculation that, well, if you're carrying 4 goaltenders, why can't you cut those 2 goaltenders down and carry another defenseman and another forward? That's not how it works. You have to carry a certain amount of forwards, certain amount of defensemen, and you are eligible enough to carry up to 4 goaltenders. So you could keep 2, but it doesn't change anything on your forward or defenseman line,
Yeah. Sorry if I'm making that face. If you're wondering what it's like, it sounds like someone's dying downstairs, but I'm gonna let them work.
I can't hear anything.
Good. That's good because it sounds like perhaps the kids are ramping up themselves. And by kids, I mean my almost 17-year-old and my 6-year-old. It's not like they're 2 like little kids down
Shout out Sebastian in Iraq.
All right.
I love the Iraqian.
Okay, they're full on fighting right now. We may have to pause before the next topic. Hold on.
All right.
Give me a second to see what's going on.
Okay.
Because sometimes they sound like they're fighting, but they're really not. It's just they both have a tone. All right, hold on.
No worries.
I know, this is just weird. What?
No, I fucking didn't. Just fucking on the couch there. Not delete the word. Why? Because I said not to. I don't give a fuck. You just go down there and watch Pop Academy. I just need like stay away. Whatever. Just fucking leave me alone. You're not playing the Switch for at least 5 fucking days. Okay, that's fine. You won't play the Switch. Not delete any of it. No, I'll fucking do whatever the fuck. It's my fucking shit. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna do something right now in anger. Yeah, I fucking. What do you have to do? Just go in the other room. Go in the other room. It is what it is. He's gonna do whatever he's gonna do, and of course he's gonna make a big deal and be a super jerk over something that I'm sure doesn't want. Really? Like Eric purposely being an asshole. Also, get your stupid stuff out of my room.
You all right?
Oh, yeah. Fucking fabulous. I don't understand. Like, just don't understand. All I'm saying.
All right. I'm sorry.
All right. It's fine. Ready? Next
Yeah.
time.
All right. I'm going to start recording.
Yeah.
Are you cool?
Yep.
All right. Okay, we are going. We are live.
Okay, next topic. Awards. The finalists are all in mostly for all of them. There's a few that will be given out later. We'll just run down the list because, again, we started doing this last week and everything got messed up, but now they're all out, so we can just go down the whole list. So for the Ted Lindsay, which is the MVP, obviously voted by the players, you got Leon Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon, Artemi Panarin. What say you, Mark Allred?
I like the Leon Draisaitl mention. Just the way that he played while McDavid was out. Like I tried to say last week, I thought that was it was more heartworthy in my opinion. And you know, just his point totals. I think he was 2 points per game while McDavid was out, and he went from a 1 point per game while David was in. So I think that's probably my go-to guy. And Lydia Murray of blackandgoldhockey.com wrote a great article about how she thinks that Pasternak was a little snubbed on this one.
That was a great article. I read it. I think I hopefully retweeted it. I just want all the writers to know, again, when I figure out Twitter, I'll be better. I'm trying to follow some people and I'm trying to at least retweet it. Doesn't really matter because the same 40 people probably all follow Mark anyways or whatever, but I'm trying to practice. So if for any useful reason I need it. This is hard for me because McKinnon and Draisaitl are both nominated for the Hart and the Lindsay. So I'm trying to figure out which one I think each one gets. in some ways, I feel like Nathan McKinnon is actually more the Lindsay candidate than the Hart candidate. But I think Leon Draisaitl is going to win because that kid has been just it's hard. These are 3 great candidates. Actually, aren't they all nominated for – they're all nominated for the Hart too.
Yeah.
But I think that I would probably – those are your 3 finalists for both those trophies. I am not a player, so I don't really get a vote. I feel like the players are going to vote for McKinnon for this award, and Leon Draisaitl is getting the Hart trophy. That's what I think.
Nice.
That's it. But all right, Jack Adams. Hello, Bruce Cassidy, nominated. So we got John Tortorella. Everybody loves Torts. He's my favorite angry grandpa kind of dude. And Bruce Cassidy, our own. Okay, I know you're like exploding. You love him, yeah. And another guy that was mentioned a little earlier in the show, and both Mark and I both love this guy too, Alain Vigneault from the Philadelphia Flyers, who have been trying to make something out of kind of wasn't much happening there, and has seen it finally turning around like they were trying to do there. So what do you think is going to happen with this award? This is a weird award. You never know who's going to win because it's never the person with the best team.
Yeah. As I said on the previous episode of the Dump and Change podcast with Nick, J-Ma, and Nestor, I went with Alain Vigneault, the Philadelphia Flyers. I really want Bruce Cassidy to take this one home. He does deserve it. Heavy bias on that one. But when you think about that award, it's like it's another one of those like inspirational ones where you picked up an organization and took the ball and ran with it the way that you can do it to be so successful, and not one that is always trending on a high of success. I think something to do with the rebuild and a lot of these award considerations. But as much as I want Bruce to get it, I think Alain Vigneault is the guy that's winning this one.
Yeah, I think Bruce deserves it, but the person never gets credit when they just happen to be a really good coach on a really good team. That being said, I think Vigneault, he's going to win it. Like he has to for what's been going on in Philly, and then Lindblom, it's been a year in Philadelphia, and they were finally coming into their own right before everything shut down. 3 great candidates, though. I can't argue.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I do think Cassidy deserves it, but I don't know if he'll win it. He should. He's been nominated like 2 out of the last 3 years. How can it not be your turn? But you're right. A lot of awards of that. So then there are certain ones that kind of go more like points and that kind of effect. And that's the Calder Memorial for the rookie, right? You got your Cale Makar, you got your Quinn Hughes, and you got Dominic Kubalik from the Blackhawks. What say you on Calder?
I'm a big fan of Cale Makar. I got to go with the availability to see his games at UMass while he was there before he left and turned pro with the Colorado Avalanche. I think he's a solid player. I mean, he's going to be like the OEL of the Arizona Coyotes, I believe, someday. Just that rock solid and offensive defenseman that just can be a game changer on the blue line, and he's already starting in his pro career just to be an unbelievable force. And, geez, I mean, I if I had my choice, I'd give him the Norris too, but, we'll talk about that later on. But
yeah, we'll get down that on the list.
Yeah, solid player. Happy for him.
The thing is, like, most of the year I would have said Quinn Hughes, but if you look I love Cale Makar, and I think that he kind of ran away with it kind of halfway through the season that was played of, I guess, being more all around impactful on your team. Do you know what I mean? But Quinn Hughes has had a hell of a season too on the back. You know what I mean? Like, very rarely do you, again, you know how I feel. Defensemen aren't really defensemen until they're like 25, 24, 25, 26. Everyone takes different times because they have to grow into their man bodies. It's different than being quick and fast and moving, but I think Cale Makar is going to win. He should. He
could be like the Bork or Lidstrom. You know what I mean? I mean, that's high potential for like Norris considerations for a career. And those two were just unbelievable. And they were always up for it.
Some.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually sure both of those boys will get some in their careers. But no, Masterson Trophy. Sorry, Memorial Trophy. My voice is going. So the hockey writers nominate someone from each team, right? We kind of went over when we knew people that Kevin Miller got nominated from the Boston writers. Sportsmanship and perseverance and dedication to hockey. This one is a strange one. It usually comes back to the best comeback story, which is weird because good on everybody for having a comeback story on some level. You got Stephen Johns in Dallas, Oscar Lindblom in Philly, and in Ottawa, Bobby Ryan. So everyone's stories, I'm sure, were very worthy of being finalists. So shout out to everybody who was nominated by their respective writers in their, that cover their organization. That have the actual vote, not like us. We just have opinions, but opinions count too. What say you?
The Stephen Johns and his personal PTSD issues, Bobby Ryan with alcoholism, and is it Oscar Lindblom?
Lindblom, yep.
Okay, all right. And cancer. It's three solid candidates. But for me, it's got to go to the Philadelphia Flyers forward. Defenseman, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Oscar Lindblom. So that's
about Philly generally, not him as a human.
I'm
glad he's coming back. I don't really know their lineup.
I think he's a defenseman. But
he was only here for a little bit before he went out, so it's not like I heard about him long enough to.
No, it's a good story. Good Philadelphia prospect. Tons of potential, and the story just really fits well for me, and so on. I don't want to get into details on why. I mean, Bobby Ryan was another one, but that's, it's so hard. It's so hard to think about when you put everything in the categories. But for me, cancer and coming back from it is something that is just. It's a life battle, and it just gets worse every year. But, I don't know. Alcoholism to me is just something that, I don't know. It's very big, and I really don't want to get into that because I'll probably get shit on for it.
Well, I'm going to pick Bobby Ryan because I think, although Ottawa continues to be a mostly dumpster fire, for him to go out and come back the way he did, working whatever he needs to work to be alive in essence too. He made this isn't a slight because cancer is obvious thing. Like I said, as a Bruins fan, I always will remember when Phil Kessel was like a 19-year-old kid. That was like, oh my God, him going through all his stuff and, the comeback. I'm happy that he might be skating with his team and be able to play, you know what I mean? And things like that. But I'm going to take Bobby Ryan only because he's kind of had his career. Like his comeback to me is just a little bit more leap on the sense that he had a career that he blew up and he came back and it's like dad came home and dad is clean and sober and it's a total different locker room, I think. Because we always talk about how Ottawa like 3 years ago was like a contending, like functioning team. And now it's mostly their owner's fault, but that's one of the things. And it is hard though. Like, how do you choose whose like comeback story is
right?
All the best.
No, absolutely.
Glad everyone's healthy and happy and moving forward.
Hey, can I break in here and offer a little breaking news?
Do what you want.
All right. So blackandgoldhockey.com website writer, and he covers the Providence Bruins so much, but this one comes at an NHL level, and he comes out with. This is Tim Richardson, by the way. Follow him at Tim R. Richardson. Yesterday, Cassidy said he needed to cut 2 guys before going into the bubble. Bleeding Carey not showing on roster anymore. Looks like Coleman, Senyshyn, Studnicka, and Frederick are heading to the bubble. So I thank you, Tim.
You can guess whose face that's for.
I know. Thank you, Tim, for breaking that. I promised you on the Slack channel that I would give you a shout out. Fantastic article on Urho Vakanainen, by the way. Please go to blackandgoldhockey.com, search Tim Richardson, and check out his recent work on his prospect coverage and updates of last season moving forward. So sorry about that.
And Tim, love the prospect guys.
Well, that's my boy, Tim Richardson. He's also the co-host of the Black and Gold Prospect podcast. We are going to kick back as soon as the American Hockey League gets back on track after this COVID shutdown or just pause, whatever. But yeah, we're going to do that. So that's going to be a lot of fun getting him back on a weekly basis to update all the prospects from the AHL down to the talent developing around the world.
I was going to say, and even if, depending on what leagues, wherever in each league, even if some of our guys aren't, you guys would be good too. You keep everyone, maybe you guys could do like a draft thing. You know what I mean? Maybe like a one-off, you guys could get together right before the draft to see what's going on and do a little update. Because you guys have great chemistry and also very informative. Because like I always say to you, I care about the prospects, but I'd rather
ask you, sorry.
No, I would say I care more about what's going on all the other, like playing against the Boston Bruins team, but I do want to know what's going on with the Providence Bruin and anyone who may or may not come through our system. You know,
I think prospect news is really starting to pick up a lot more lately, and you see it from the NHL level and their coverage on the social media. They're starting to get more involved, which obviously sparks a lot more interest from that level, and it's good content to flow down. So I'm fortunate to be enough to be right in the middle of it, watching from the press box at most occasions. So it's just a very thrilling thing to do and cover and talk about. So that's why I really like the chemistry that we have. We could talk about the Boston Bruins, but if you ever had a question about a certain prospect or, hey, somebody got injured, who could come up? It's always a good avenue to ask me about who I think, just in my opinion.
Don't I do that on text message anyways? Like,
dear God. That. That's why we're a good team.
People do. Yeah, I try to keep it's like I'm keeping up with it, but not like they. What was I gonna go with it? All right, Lady Bing. We're moving on. Everybody's story's great. Comeback kids, all of that. You guys, maybe like I said, you could do something fun. Do you listen? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The NHL, the NHL Network or whatever podcast that they have, they even have Draft Class. You listen to that, right? So like they are pumping their own. Like, I do. Because they want people to get invested in these players before they get here. And
absolutely.
Part of the NHL is, so like if you're an American or Canadian player, even if you're from America or Canada, you may have heard, if you played, college hockey or whatever thing, like you might have heard of some of these players. They play each other, even just as youth people, right? There's like like whatever tournaments where both countries, all the best whites or whoever show up and all those kind of things.
IIHF tournaments.
Yeah, thank you. So like those, so you kind of know, but like you don't really grow up watching the Swedish prospects or who when you hear their name later. That's what the Olympics used to serve as, but then
exactly. Then everyone's a pros. It's not amateur anymore.
Okay, so Lady Bing, most gentlemanly conduct in sportsmanship. Okay, well, I don't personally know these guys, so I guess I'll Nathan McKinnon again must be an all-around swell kid because he keeps getting nominated. Everyone seems to like him, and he's Austin Matthews and Ryan O'Reilly. I hate him.
Yeah.
Ryan O'Reilly for weird reasons. I don't.
Jesus, did you do any penalty numbers on these guys?
No, not invested. It's not us. I don't care.
I would have to go Nathan McKinnon.
I'm going to go with Nathan McKinnon because he's the only person who the police haven't had to talk to this year. And I get that's off ice.
Because you didn't drive your truck into a Timmy's?
And you did not, after a girl didn't want to talk or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. The security guard, the female security guard. Jesus.
I guess. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think Nathan McKinnon.
That's a pretty good one.
Someone else was saying that, too. I'm sure that wasn't original. I think I probably heard that originally. Like the
That's
idea.
All right.
But now that I'm looking at the list and I'm going down, I'd give credit to whoever it was. So if you happen to listen to this, like I do recognize that was probably not original. Maybe my wording, but not the idea. But it is true. Like, I don't know. But I also don't play against them on the ice, and that's really what the award's about. Okay. The Vezina Trophy. Connor Hellebuyck, sick. Jets probably winning, in my opinion, whether he should or not. Tuukka Rask, our very own. That's right. How happy were you when you saw Tuukka's name? You love Tuukka. Again, you had a Tuukka crush long before anyone even could say Tuukka Rask.
Big fan of it. I hope he gets it. I really do. I'm pulling for him, but I think the Hellebuyck story is going to overtake anything that I'm going to say or think of. I'm more about what happens completely during the season. I thought Tuukka was playing well, had some good numbers, but Hellebuck's going to be the type of player that will take the limelight because no defense, everything else that happened to the team, and yeah, I'm above the stats over the story. So,
well, there are some categories where Connor's stats actually rival, and I don't want to forget Andre Vasilevsky was the third nominee.
yes, we hate Tampa Bay though.
No one who needs to talk about him. Everybody knows who he is. Also, he won last year. He can't win again this year. He hasn't had that standout of a season. I think, I don't know, Connor Hellebuyck, it's hard because, like, Tuukka overall absolutely should win this award with these nominees, at least for this season's play. But Connor Hellebuyck has been playing some pretty good goaltending, so net minding, whatever the proper verbiage would be there. All right, Willie O'Ree, Community Heroes. None of them are from our area, but I did want to say Dampy Brar, Alexandria, Bugs Blake, and John Hafferman. Good for you. They're from Calgary, Maryland, so I'm assuming the Capitals nominated them, and Columbus. Again, shout out to any community leaders. As we talked about at the top of the show, we gave up a community leader in our community this week, and but good for all of them, whatever work they're doing. You can find more about their causes or whatever that they're doing, and good for them. We're moving on to the Selkie, though, okay? Because, again, Patrice Bergeron, nomination 950. No, I'm just kidding. Number 9 straight. Why? Because everybody loves Patrice Bergeron. Even if he shouldn't be nominated, he'll always be nominated. He's Patrice freaking Bergeron. All right, so Sean Couturier and Ryan O'Reilly. Who say you?
I am going with Sean Couturier. As much as I want the Bergeron to take home his 5th and leading Selke and break away from Bob Gainey, I unfortunately cannot say that he's going to win it. I think Couturier is going to get it. Just due to the Bergeron injury time this season, I think that might have a little effect on the voting. But both play a very similar style. They are both two-way defensive forwards that just, they own 3 zones and they completely set the pace on any rush or any back check. So it's tough for me. But my heart goes with Couturier.
I think it's funny. We're total Eastern Conference bias because we're just ignoring Ryan O'Reilly as if he never even got nominated to. Like, yeah, dude, and he hasn't had the season that he's had in the past. I think Patrice will get 5, but I don't think it's this year. I think Sean's earned it over the last few seasons, and kind of the sum parts in this year and what's gone on in Philly. To me, I think he's going to actually win it. But don't worry, Patrice. There's still time for you to get that 5th, and you will. If anything, it'll be the year he retires, All right, the Norris Memorial Trophy. You got John Carlson. You got Victor Hedman. You got Roman Josi.
I am going for Josi, but I would also like to just kind of throw a wrench in the spokes of this operation and say, Jesus, Cale Makar should have gotten high honors too. That's just my opinion.
He could have been nominated for this.
Absolutely.
I think that John Carlson's going to win it.
Points.
And this is why. Because they don't have the split. Everyone always complains. Well, first of all, he ran away point-wise for the defenseman this year. He was off and running and never looked back to anybody else. Like,
he could have broke 100 and something points this year.
Defensemen don't do that.
No.
They don't.
We're fortunate to get a 60-70 guy in Torrey Krug.
Yeah. So for Carlson, for me too, is like he did that and is still a stand-up defenseman. He's not one of the offensive defensemen. He is a stand-up defenseman. So great. And he is on a good team or whatever. They have a good defense. I think he's going to win because of that. Like for the long haul, just like you said with the Vezina Trophy, that it's the long haul too, the sum of all the parts. But I love Roman Josi, and I would really like him to win this award. I think he's a great leader. I was happy when he got his money. He to me is I don't want to say premier, but he is really what a defenseman in this league at this time and place really should encompass, I guess, is what I'm
trying to say.
Yeah. All right. Last one, Hart Trophy, Leon Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon, Artemi Panarin. Are we going to basically we're back to Draisaitl and McKinnon. Sorry.
Yeah, so Draisaitl for me. Pasternak snub. Just saying.
Yeah. Let's get
Lydia, shout out Lydia Murray. Great article, by the way.
Do you want to comment? Just one word answer. Do you think Pasta should have been nominated for this award?
I do, but I get it. I do get it.
I don't. You know why? Because he's not the most valuable player on our team, even though he scored that many goals. And I think that's why he's probably was 4th or 5th on the voting. You know, I mean, he's got to be high up in there because we haven't seen anyone's ballots.
Oh, sure.
All those certain things. But
your goal consideration and your production is heavily going to be considered, but your overall game is also going to be another area where people are going to evaluate when it comes to like an MVP type of season. I totally get what you mean, you know, and I think that a player like Leon Draisaitl, that fits a lot of categories because of his point production when he was with with McDavid, and what happened when he wasn't with McDavid and it went to 2 points a game was just, I mean, that shows heart. I mean, that covers a lot of avenues of what that trophy exemplifies, you know?
Yeah. And I think that I do want to say Rangers fans, if there's any Rangers fans listen, I know I listen to other people's teams' podcasts, you know what I mean? I do see your Panarin argument too, because if the trophy is most valuable player on your team, I think if you're going to go between Draisaitl and McKinnon's actually the MVP of his team, just because it's not Draisaitl's fault, but just like Malkin, you're going to have to always live with the fact that you also skate with Connor McDavid, right?
Right.
But I do think Panarin, hands down, is the MVP of the Rangers and almost single-handedly. Well, not single-handedly, Zibanejad and that. Like, people, they were starting to come together.
No, sure.
Absolutely. Just for the record, if anyone's wondering, I think Brad Marchand is the MVP on our team, just as an overall player, has developed into – he's the piece that we will have trouble because he does a lot more. Like, he's more well-rounded, too. Maybe that's age and experience, probably. You know, I mean, he's an old guy now, sort of. You know, he's in his 30s.
You're not the only one to say that.
Yeah, but anyways, that's that. GM of the year, the Jim Gregory, the nominees, and the King Clancy will be announced at a later date. They're giving out and one winner for the Mark Messier Award. No nominees no finalists this year. That's going to be given out during the conference final. So stay tuned for what happens.
All right, we got to get this Inger rant in.
Okay, this is just a 30-second thing. I know people list or just list, and I'm in on that too. But sometimes you see lists and you're like, damn it, how can the NHL always disappoint me, right? Or NHL Network in this situation. Usually it's their things. Every time we talk about them, I say that. No way in hell that Morgan Riley is a better defenseman than Torrey Krug. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, there you go. That's it. I don't disagree with any of the other lists, just that part.
All right. Have to give a huge shout out to our boy, 98.5, the Sports Hub writer, Ty Anderson. I've had the honor of meeting Ty at a development camp. Great kid, unbelievable writer, and happy to follow him and so on, but also happy to hear that he is doing well. Needed a break. You know what I mean? And I respect somebody that takes a step back and collects their, whatever's going on, and then comes right back in it and ready to freaking go to work. So shout out to Ty Anderson. Please follow him at Ty Anderson. He and 98.5 Sports Hub. Great articles. And
I like Ty.
Yeah, big fan. So great to have him back. Great to see his tweet and so on, and the outpouring love for him and his return was also great to see on Twitter. Connor Ryan and the gifts, and it was just really cool, man. So and it's a good time too. I mean, the hockey coverage is picking up. This is Ty's good time. This is Ty's comfort zone, and you're gonna see him like really grind it away. So awesome to see him back. So
welcome back, Ty. All right, two quick more things. Just one, I saw that because I don't know how to do Twitter, but I followed all the teams so I can see what's going on with every team at least. The Flames sent all the players' families flowers and with like notes that are like, hope we don't see him till October or whatever kind of thing. And I just thought that was nice for the organization, and I'm sure other places are doing too, but that's classy that they recognize the families are giving up a big sacrifice too. Not only do these boys have to potentially 10 weeks be quarantined in this bubble, but at least for 8 weeks or whatever, the families will also have no access, physical, whatever access to them. So that was, I thought, nice. And the last thing is release the Kraken.
Oh, here we go. This is so stupid. All right, now listen. Everybody's gonna think that I'm the Clint Eastwood on the front porch, get off my lawn, type of guy, or I'm the old man that yells at the cloud or whatever in The Simpsons. But come on, it's like I'm so sick of names that don't exist. I mean, it's a mythical creature, so it's
been around a long time.
Yeah. So it just, I don't know. I really wish they would have gone back in history. I would have loved the sockeyes. The sockeyes are an actual fish.
That was a copyright issue because there's some romance short story thing.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that. That would have been cool, but you know what?
Do you want me to tell you why the Kraken
the Metropolitans, I don't want to hear what you. Yeah.
Okay. One, the Metropolitans would have been a great idea, but then they'd end up being shortened to the Mets, and nobody needs another Mets. Okay. There are a lot of great choices that you could have had.
You could call them Metros.
I don't think we'd do that as Americans. I think it would be because we're used to calling the Mets, right? If you could guarantee the Met, but still, right? Because that all the Mets is short for is probably it was shortened to Metro, and then it went to Mets at some point. It's awesome for many reasons. Why? I didn't want Vegas to have a team, and I was mad, and then they disappointed me. Unlike everyone else, although they have had a great couple first years, my old crotchety hockey person thing is, I don't like all the whistles and blow. It doesn't line up. It doesn't line up historically correctly to me, and I hate the Golden Knights was so blah, of all the things you could do. I like it because it spices it up. It's got no plural. It is. Any word that's a plural and a singular at the same time has my heart. I'm just saying. Also, regardless of all the ridiculous gifts about Release the Kraken with Liam Neeson, Krakens are actually kick butt. They've been around a long time as mythical. They're scary. And I like that it's different. How many Jets do you need? Or Bruins do you need? Or something
we're not calling the Seattle Santa Clauses.
I don't want to always have a team just named after whatever the object closest to that was we'll be the Islanders because we're on the island. Cool. You know what I mean? Or we'll be the Sharks. That was kind of innovative at the time. People were oh, Sharks? You're going to call your team? Now Sharks seems thing. But I like it, and I love the jersey.
We're not gonna agree on this, but I will agree on the jersey. The jersey is pretty sick.
I saw somebody... Oh, sorry.
I do like the S. I like the eyes and everything, but the name, I'm not gonna. No, I can't do it. I love you and everything, but no.
It was on the Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it.
No.
Yeah, wait till you see the awesome sauce.
You might be my so-called little sister or anything like that, but no, you're not getting me on this one.
Remember, I'm right a lot of the times, and you're no. And you're all right. So
here comes the woman power.
Someone had done, so then it's who's going to be on the team or whatever. I thought it was funny. Some people player with lines or whatever. But there was a one where it was a mock thing, and Brandon Carlo was on the team, and someone said, if you thought I was mad about Colin Miller, I don't remember who it was, but I was thinking, I'm still mad about Colin Miller. Another reason why the Kraken will always be forever. I'm mad at Boston about it. I'm mad at the Golden Knights because I'm Golden Knights. Ugh. How can that Kraken be worse than that? I'm just saying. Nothing against Golden Knights. I do think most sports teams are probably stupid names, in the, you know what I mean, in the long run, if you really analyze it, how intimidating can that be? But anyways, that's it. Release the Kraken. I was right.
Whatever.
I was going either Kraken or if this isn't going to be Kraken, I was having a crazy thing. it better be the Soundgardens.
Heather, do your contractual obligation and tell everybody to follow us.
I
would
mostly follow Mark at his Twitter at Black and Gold Pod or his personal Black and Gold 277. You can try and follow me. I don't even know my own Twitter. It took me 22 times to even get a Twitter handle, and it seems
Inga the Big Mouth at Inga
on me too.
The Big Mouth. That's funny.
So anyways, you don't have to follow me. I'm not interesting. I'll just retweet anything Mark tweets anyway. So just if you're already following him. But anyways, that's my contractual obligation.
Please
Jesus,
go.
Last week was like power through. This week's like we can't stop.
Please go to all your listening platforms, give us a 5-star rating, and say some good words or some bad words or what we should do differently about the show. If you want to get involved in any of our giveaways, it's just $1 per episode, folks. Just $1 per episode. Go to patreon.com/Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Donate that $1. We have signed pucks from former players. I have a whole ton of them over here. I got stuff from the storenextdoor.ca. I got shirts from Fanatics. We have I think I'm at the 40 marker. So we need 12 more items I want to pay for. And then we're going to start dropping episodes where we give away an item every week for the whole year. No more backlog. No more of this I'm going to search for people because I need this size of the shirt. Nope. You get an extra large shirt or a large, and then you get a great item, and we're going to send it right out. So
that being said, too, if you're not a Patreon member, but you want some awesome merchandise, also go on the blackandgoldhockey.com and go to Fanatics and buy your stuff through there.
Exactly. Or if you want to get some summertime merch from the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast, represent while you're watching summer hockey in August. Go to bngshop.bigcartel.com and order some of our exclusive Black and Gold Hockey merchandise. Thomas Nystrom did a fantastic job on the design, and he's doing all the logistics on shipping everything out. Great shirts. Extra larges, $20. Anything below that is $18. So get on board with that. We certainly appreciate that. But want to thank you, Heather. Another great week. Great recovery from our massive dump and chase fail last week.
All right. Shh. Don't curse it. We're almost done. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yes, but anyway, for Heather Ingerson, I am Mark Allred, host of the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. We bid you adieu, and we will see you next week. We will be talking more Boston Bruins hockey as they will be in the bubble this time.
Game 1 when we record before.
Exactly. Exhibition time talk and so on. We will have you updated on everything moving forward in the bubble madness. But until then, Mark
Until
Allred.
then, Heather will pray that Don Sweeney comes out and goes, everybody calm down. Tori's getting 7 for 5 for 6. It's fine. It's fine. Calm down, everyone. It's fine.
And we're not releasing the Kraken. So we'll talk to you later, everybody. Peace out.
Thanks again for listening to and supporting the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please share the show with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to and leave a 5-star rating for the show on your favorite podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Between shows, help us keep the Bruins talk going by visiting our website, blackandgoldhockey.com, by sending an email to blackandgoldhockeyblog@gmail.com, and by following the show on Twitter @blackandgoldpod.
Peace out.